Hey, Composite Gloves here. I'm wearing a hat. Today we're going to be talking about formants. Formants, in a nutshell, is the way your voice gives emphasis to particular frequencies when you talk, or different areas of the spectrum. And let's give you a couple examples, and then we'll dive into what it means. So first, I have this example.
Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts. We are going to take you away from here.
And I know you think that sounds kind of ridiculous. Like, you're like, oh, this sounds lame, la, la, la. Well, check it out. This was the original.
Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts.
And this has been pitched up 900 cents. Well, this one has no Formant shift. So let's pitch this one up 900 cents. What does this one sound like?
Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts.
Versus.
Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your...
So one sounds like a chipmunk and the other one almost sounds like a person. Granted, someone that has something severely wrong with them, but it sounds much more like a person than this one does. And with your knowledge of formants, you'll be able to get much more realistic things. This is just, I grabbed an audio file I had that I'd recorded a while ago and just began to work. So let's reset this. And I also have one other example of pitching down. This also has a Formants shift on it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts.
And so that's another way of getting that type of a low voice sound. And this can really become impactful. So let's look at formants real quick. Now I have a video tutorial in my DSP series. I'm going to put a link in the description because I know I don't really recommend the whole DSP series. I'm going to revamp that one someday. But the one on formants I think is pretty darn good. So you can go check that out. And what I do is I take a saw wave and using an EQ, I move it around dynamically to try and recreate formants movement. And it sounds almost like the saw wave is talking and like a vocoder type talking. Not like a speech type talking, but a vocoder type talking. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at formants in another way. So I do this in the other video, but it's really useful to see here. This is my voice being analyzed by the parametric EQ. The brighter colored lines are the frequencies that are louder in the spectrum. You see they are shifting around quite a bit. But if I focus on a vowel sound like E, you could see where they tend to lie. They tend to find a spot. Now, when you're modulating your voice, like if I go I, you see there's a particular pattern. People have identified these patterns and actually made things that you can type in words and have it speak, have it talk, and it will analyze whatever the words are and play those resonance, play that correct formants. Obviously, there's a lot more to it, and it gets kind of interesting. If you go look up my alter ego free VST, it's a free VST. It's got a lot of views compared to my other videos too. Alter ego is a synthesizer you can type in and will actually try and sing what you write. So that's a really interesting, sort of taking it to the next level there. But here we have this, and you're going E-I-E-I-E, and we say, oh, that's the formants, is these resonance, where the resonance is moving. So let's go ahead and take a look at what happens. Let's make some of these. So first, I have this, right? And what am I going to use to shift the formants? I'm going to use new tone. So I'm going to come into new tone, and I've actually already got it loaded up, but I've messed with this already. So let's go ahead and just re-drag it in here. I'm also going to detach it so it stops disappearing behind my stuff. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelt.
All right, so now we've got this.
Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts.
Cool. Now, to get to the formant shift, you have to double click on it to enter advanced editing mode, or you can come up here and click on the advanced edit tab. And there's actually, I believe it's like Control E as well, yeah. And what you can do is you double click and you see you have this red line. Well, if you click and drag, it says formants shift. So this is going to shift the formants of the voice. And if I Control A, you see all of them just turned a little bit red around the edges. And, well, a little bit red. They turned red around the edges. And this is indicating that I've selected everything. Now as I hit and move these up, so I go up, 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 like a formant shift of 10, my voice will sound, so I've shifted it up. It'll sound like this.
Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts.
And you might be going, why would you want to do that? Well, let's drag it out. So we're going to drag it out to a file using this button here. And I have a whole, like a series on how to use this thing. And what we're going to do is, so this is what we got.
Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts.
Sounds kind of like a weird chipmunk. And that noise in the background is what's also contributing to sort of the roughness, like that. So sorry about that. But if I pitch shift it down, check it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts. Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts.
And if I pitch shift the original,
Oh.
If I pitch shift this one down,
Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten.
see how it sounds much more rounded? And this isn't like bad. This is just stuff you need to be aware of if you're trying to get particular things. Maybe you layer them together.
Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelt.
And maybe you bring this one up, maybe normalize it and make it a little louder.
Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts.
And it just increases the intelligibility of the first one. You could try doing a number of things. So that's that. Now let's try a Formant shift in the other direction. Let's leave that one alone and put it back to normal. Cool. So let's try doing a pitch shift in the other direction. So we're going to shift it down. And so we're shifting down. And okay, this can be useful if you Formant shift down. This will give you more of that feminine vocal. I'm doing pretty extreme shifts too. So
Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts.
so that's what we have now, right? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna drag that in, and so our voice, technically they're the same. They just, all I've done is done a Formant shift.
Ladies and gentlemen.
So
Ladies and gentlemen.
now let's go ahead and take this one and pitch it up a little,
Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts.
and that's how I got this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, please fasten your seatbelts.
And of course, there's a little bit more to it than just doing Formant shifts all the time. Like the performance, when I'm talking, that's the biggest chance you have to manipulate your formants. And so if you really want to nail a particular quality, you want to try and get it in the recording. I don't use this too much because when you're recording and you're writing music, you generally already have an idea. These are usually more creative endeavors than they are practical endeavors. So I have an example of a track. So anyways, that's Formant shifting, and you can do the various pitch modes in the sampler channels, and you can even change the algorithms. I've left it on auto, and I have a track that I think the voice sounds really cool. Let me go ahead and open it real quick, and I will show you the formants in it. Okay, so here's the track. It's called Desert Paradise, and I recorded this with a friend. His name's Hector Medina, and his voice has a really great formants to it. And when you pitch it down, we didn't have to do anything to it. When you pitch it down, it sounded awesome. So let me really quick just play it for you real quick. I'm just going to go up to this part. This is actually the voice. I'm triggering it using Sly 6. Don't worry very much about that. Just we're focusing on the formants. So he's a house DJ as well, so we were making a track that would blend well with his other tracks because, they're kind of repetitive. That way you can mix the two really easily, loop them really easily, and create some new, more complicated thing out of it. And we got this amazing... And that's just so cool. I think that's so cool. And what we're going to do is let's take a look at the original, okay? So let's clone this guy. You have been cloned. All right, so here is the original take. I handed him the mic and basically said, hey, say some stuff that's kind of housey. And he said, I literally handed it to him. I expected to get a good couple sentences. This is what I got.
Move your body. That's all I got.
It's so dumb. Anyways, I got a little bit more out of him. I got him to say shake as well.
Shake.
And it ended up being a really good move to get a couple more things. It's always good to get as much as you can out of people because if you don't, you're going to end up wishing you had, especially if you're doing like post-production and ADR and stuff. You want like a couple takes of everything that way because sometimes you thought something would work out really great in the moment and it ends up not working out that great. Sometimes it works out great the whole time. But anyways, the formants in his voice, let's just listen to it.
Move your body.
That's just so, I did not expect it to pitch down to become this. Now, I did chop off the beginning of the M. That wasn't by design. That just sort of happened as I was going, and I dug it, so I went with it. The people call them happy accidents. The universe was on my side that day. So let's go ahead and also look at this thing in a spectrum analyzer. So let's go in here, or in a parametric EQ too. So here we go.
Move your body.
Now, one thing about the voice, and let's go ahead and take a look at the way the power in the voice, where that lies. So if you read like in the Yamaha live sound textbook thing, it has the deal. It says most of the power is below 500 hertz. So I decided to, test it one day. And now this isn't the strongest curve. I could pull out some of the stronger curve, but this would be kind of transparent. So I'm filtering out most of the stuff above 500. And let's listen to it.
Move your body.
So it just sounds a little, it sounds like I would expect it to sound, but if you're listening for like the power, those are definitely the frequencies that are giving us a lot of the oomph in it. If we go up in the warmth, the fullness, if we go up and filter out up to 500 hertz,
move your body.
It sounds like he's on a radio or something, or it's a very thin sounding thing. We've removed a lot of the power from the voice.
Move your body.
I'm even letting some 500 hertz in. Let's get TDR Nova to do this because they've got really great filters. And we're gonna turn on the high pass. And we'll leave it at 24 and set it at 500. Cool.
Move your body.
See, that's a really dramatic difference. Now let's go ahead and reset this back to like, I don't know, 10 just to be safe. And then we'll grab the low pass and we're gonna filter down to 500 with a 24 dB per octave, not 40. 500. Cool.
Move your body.
So you see, it's quite a bit difference. But you hear when they're talking about power, you know, what gives it the forward momentum. And so if you remove that part of the voice, it's going to sound very like thin, very removed. So that's some examples of formants in the voice and how you can use it. It's a very useful tool, especially if you don't like the particular timbre you got. You really have a lot of options with changing it and making it sound the way you want. If you have any questions about this, let me know. You can do this with a lot more too. You can drop any piece of audio and do a formant shift on it. And it's just, I don't know exactly, like, I don't know the science of how this works, but I understand what it's technically supposed to be doing. I wish I understood more of the process about what it was doing. Like, is it using a series of filters to move this around? Is it using, because that's how I replicated it, was I used a series of filters and filtered the sound differently. But here I imagine it might be a series of boost filters, or it might have some sort of peak detection, resonant detection thing that can then shift a filter dynamically according to whatever it detects. Like, I have no idea how they did it, but I understand like kind of what it sounds like and what it does, which is more useful, but I'm less creatively able to deliberately do things. So if anyone knows a little bit more on like exactly how the process works, that'd be kind of cool. But that's that. If you have any questions, let me know. Subscribe, support me on Patreon, and have a blessed day.